Well, the Standing Committee on Communications and IT has submitted its report before the Parliament, 54th report to be specific. They were looking predominantly with the issue of digital payments ecosystem. And to that end, there have been some scathing observations that have been flagged by the Standing Committee, the Parliamentary Committee. First up, they point out that there is an issue of trust deficit as far as the Indian payment ecosystem is concerned. Here, the committee records as a part of its report that cyber fraud that was recorded in just the 6-month period between April and September of last year was 5,500 crore rupees. And this is huge. It's a big spike compared to the whole of 2022, which saw about 2,300 crore rupees of cyber fraud. What makes it even worse, as per the committee, is the low recovery rate, which it calls is abysmally low, and gives the figure of 10.4%. A lot more work needs to be done, is what the committee says, in terms of recovery of funds and repatriating those funds back to the victims. That's the first key takeaway. The second key takeaway, and this is described as a major lacuna, as a serious lacuna in the Indian banking system. And what's interesting is that this comes fresh on the heels of RBI taking action against Paytm Payments Bank. We're talking about virtual accounts, virtual wallets. That is what has been red flagged by this committee. The committee very clearly says that this allows for movement of funds in a way where the money trails of cyber frauds is masked, essentially saying that there might be KYC issues. It's difficult to identify who the beneficial owners of these accounts are, and therefore there are questions regarding money laundering, regarding counter terrorism operations. It may not be detected by these systems. That's the concern being expressed by this committee, and to that end says that a lot more work needs to be done into developing frameworks for this. Further goes on to say that there needs to be a more thrust given towards developing Indian fintech companies that will provide these solutions. The rationale is, as per the committee, it will be easier for the RBI to regulate these domestic entities as compared to international entities. The third key lacuna that has been pointed out by this committee is lack of a strong penal mechanism. What the committee essentially argues is, and it cites data to that end, it cites data for 2021 where it says that as many as 55,000 cases of cyber fraud had been registered, but the conviction rate was less than 1%, given that there were only less than 500 convictions. This is a major issue that has been flagged by this committee. The committee says that there's a lot more work that needs to be done towards legislative and administrative reforms to strengthen this framework even further. And finally, towards how to address this, well, here the committee records that there are multiple stakeholders and that there needs to be a cohesive, cogent approach, and that all the stakeholders need to come together to work towards preventive solutions, towards preventing cyber fraud, and that is the strategy that will hold us in good stead. So that, in short, summarizes the broad takeaways, the big takeaways from the 54th report of the Standing Committee on Communications and IT on Digital Payment Ecosystem in India.